Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, we are from Group 4, Leadership Class, Economic Faculty, University of Lampung. In this occasion, we will give presentation about skills for building personal credibility and influencing others with lecturer Dr. Kumala Hayati. In this presentation, specifically, we will talk about building credibility, communication, listening, assertiveness, conducting meetings, effective stress management, problem solving, and improving creativity. So, let's move to the first material.
Credibility is a little like leadership, in that many people have ideas about what credibility is, but there's little consensus on one true definition of credibility. Credibility can be defined as the ability to engender trust in others. Leaders with high levels of credibility are seen as trustworthy. Credibility is made up of two components: expertise and trust. Expertise consists of technical competence as well as organizational and industry knowledge, so building expertise means increasing someone's knowledge and skills in these three areas. Building technical competence concerns increasing the knowledge and repertoire of behaviors someone can bring to bear to successfully complete a task. However, building expertise takes more than just technical competence. Leaders also need to understand the company and the industry they are in. Finally, remember that expertise is more than experience. The second component of credibility is building trust, which can be broken down into clarifying and communicating someone's value and building relationships with others. Having a strong value system is an important component both in the building blocks model of skills and in leadership success. Another key way to build trust is to form strong relationship with others. Perhaps the best way to build relationship with followers is to spend time listening to what they have to say. Best has defined communication effectiveness as the degree to which someone tells others something and ensures that they understand what was said. In a more general sense, effective communication involves the ability to transmit and receive information with a high probability that the intended message is passed from sender to receiver. Communication is best understood as a process beginning with an intention to exchange certain information with others. That intention eventually takes form in some particular expression, which may or may not adequately convey what was intended. The next stage is reception. Just as with a weak or garbled radio signal or malfunctioning antenna, what is received is not always what was sent. Reception is followed by interpretation. Finally, it is not enough merely to receive and interpret information. Others' interpretations may or may not be consistent with what was intended at the outset.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andika Ade Setiawan. Continue to my materials is about listening. Good leaders and followers recognize the value of two-way communication. Listening to others is just as important as expressing oneself clearly to them. People in leadership roles are only as good as the information they have, and much of their information comes from watching and listening to what goes on around them. Now, the following is a more detailed discussion of these 4 ways to improve active listening skill. First of all, demonstrate non-verbally that you are listening, making sure your nonverbal behavior so that you have turns your attention entirely to the speaker. Many people mistakenly assume that listening is a one-way process, although it seems plausible to think of information following only from the sender to the receiver. The essence of active listening is to see all communication, even listening, as two-way process. And second of all, actively interpret the sender's message. The essence of active listening is trying to understand what the sender means. It's not enough merely to be, even if you call a perfect human tape recorder. We must look for the meaning behind someone's word. In the first place, this means we need to keep our minds open to the sender's ideas. And next one, attend to the sender's nonverbal behavior. People should use all the tools at their disposal to understand what someone else is saying. This includes paraphrasing Sanders' message and being astute at picking up on Sanders' nonverbal signal. Last one, avoid becoming defensive. Defensive behavior is most likely to occur when someone feels threatened. Acting defensively may also decrease followers' subsequent willingness to pass additional unpleasant information on to the leaders or other followers, or even the leader's willingness to give feedback to the followers in itself. Now talking about assertiveness. Acquiescence is avoiding interpersonal conflict entirely, either by giving up and giving in, or by expressing our needs in an apologetic, self-effacing way. Acquiescence is not synonym with politeness or helpfulness, though it is sometimes rationalized as such. Beside the practical outcome of not attaining our goals, and acquiescence style typically leads to many negative feelings such as guilt, resentment, and self-blame, as well as low self-image. Aggressions, on the other hand, is an effort to attain objective by attacking or hurting others. Next, we will discuss about this assertiveness tips in more detail. First, use I statements. Assertive people take responsibility for what they say. They are clear in their own mind and with others about what they believe and what they want. Next one, speak up for what you need. No one has all of the skills, knowledge, times, or resources needed to do all the tasks assigned to their work group. Virtually everyone will need to ask superiors, peers, and subordinates for help at same times. Both effective leaders and effective followers ask for help from others when they need it. Learn to say no. No one can be all things to all people, but it takes assertiveness to say no to others. Leaders, for example, may need to say no to their own superiors as times to stand up for their subordinate or organizations' right and keep from spreading themselves too thin and detracting from other priorities. Next one, monitor your inner dialogue. Most of us talk to ourselves, though not out loud. Such self-talk is natural and common, though not everyone is aware of how much it occurs or how powerful an influence and behavior it can be. Learning to say no is a good example of the role self-talk plays in assertiveness. Suppose someone is asked to serve a volunteer committee that simply does not have time for and that he wants to say no. Be persistent. Assertive individuals stick to their guns without becoming irritated, angry, or loud. They persistently seek their objective even while facing another person's excuse or objections. Now, the next material is about conducting meetings. Meetings are a fact of organizational life. It is difficult to imagine a leader who could or should avoid them, particularly when groups, committees, or teams have high level of task interdependence. First, determine whether it is necessary, list the objective, provide pertinent material in advance, make it convenient, encourage participants, and this is the most important because leaders have a responsibility to encourage participants. Everyone at the meeting should have an opportunity to be heard and should feel some awareness in the meeting outcome itself. And lastly, keep a record. During meeting, the points of discussion and various decisions or actions taken by seems clear to you, so you can record or just write everything the conclusion of the meeting in itself. That's all from me. Thank you.
Conducting meetings. Meetings are a fact of organizational life. It is difficult to imagine a leader who could avoid them, particularly when groups, committees, or teams have high levels of task or lateral interdependence. There are several things that you need to understand when conducting a meeting. Determine whether it is necessary. Perhaps the most important step in conducting a meeting is to take the time to determine whether a meeting is really necessary. If you are evaluating whether to have a meeting, assess what it can accomplish. Call a meeting only if the potential benefits outweigh the costs. As part of this process, get the opinions of the other participants beforehand, if that is possible. Moreover, if meetings are regularly scheduled, you should have significant business to conduct in each meeting. If not, this meeting should probably be scheduled less frequently. List the objectives. Once you have decided that a meeting is necessary, you should list your objectives for the meeting and develop a plan for attaining them in an orderly manner. Prioritize what you hope to accomplish at the meeting. Provide pertinent materials in advance. Besides having an agenda, a meeting is often more effective if leaders also give the other participants pertinent reports or support materials well in advance. Passing out materials and waiting for people to read them at the meeting itself wastes valuable time. Most people will come prepared, having read relevant material beforehand. If you have given it to them, and almost everyone will resent making a meeting longer than necessary doing work that could and should have been earlier. Make it convenient. Another way to maximize the benefits of meetings is to pick a time and place as convenient as possible for all participants. Besides maximizing attendance, this will help key participants from being distracted with thoughts of other pressing issues. Encourage participation. Leaders have a responsibility to encourage participation. Everyone at the meeting should have an opportunity to be heard and should feel some ownership in the meeting's outcome. In some cases, you may need to solicit participation from quieter people at the meeting. These members often make valuable contributions to the group when given the chance. Furthermore, ensuring that the quieter members participate will also help you to avoid mistaking someone's quietness for implied consent or agreement. Keep a record. During a meeting, the points of discussion and various decisions or actions taken may seem clear to you. However, do not trust your memory to preserve them all. Take minutes for the record so you and others can reconstruct what the participants were thinking and why you think did or didn't take some action. Record decisions and actions to be taken, including who will be responsible for doing it and when it is supposed to be accomplished. Such records are also useful for preparing future meetings' agendas.
Effective stress management. People use the term stress in different ways. Sometimes people use the term to describe particular sorts of events or environmental conditions. For example, fans might speculate that a football coach's heart attack was caused by the pressure of his professions. Other examples might include receiving a failing grade on basic exam or arriving noticeably late to an important meeting, or playing a sudden death over time in hockey. But people also use the term in a quite different way. Sometimes it refers to the effect of environments. The phrase, like I'm feeling a lot of stress, might revert to various symptoms a person is experiencing, such as muscular tension or difficulty concentrating. Before we proceed further, therefore, it will be useful to agree on some convention of terminology. Monitor your own and your followers' stress levels. One of the most important steps in managing stress is to monitor your own and your followers' stress levels. Although this seems straightforward, a paradox fact about stress is that it often takes a toll without one's conscious awareness. A person experiencing excessive stress might manifest various symptoms apparent to everyone but him or her. We also need to identify what is causing the stress. Monitoring your stress will reduce the chances that it will build to an unhealthy level before you take action. But monitoring is not enough. Leaders also need to identify what is causing the stress. It may seem at first that the causes of stress always will be obvious, but that is not true. We also need to practice a healthy lifestyle. Practicing a healthy lifestyle is one of the best ways to minimize stress. There are no substitutes for balanced nutrition, regular exercise, adequate sleep, abstention from tobacco, and drinking only moderate amount if of alcohol is a key to a healthy life. Develop supportive relationship. Another powerful antidote to stress is having a network of close and supportive relationship with others. People who have close ties to others through marriage, church membership, or other groups tend to be healthier than those with weaker social ties. Keep things in perspective. As we noted earlier, the stressfulness of any event depends partly on how we interpret it, not just on the event itself. For example, a poor grade on an examination may be more stressful for one student than for another. Just a rebuke from a boss may be more stressful for one worker than for another. There are several steps in problem solving. First is identifying problems or opportunities for improvement. Second is analyzing the causes. Next is developing alternative solutions. Next is selecting and implementing the best solutions. And we need to assessing the impact for the solution. About improving creativity. We can learn from first seeing things in new ways, second using power constructively, and also we can forming diverse problem solving groups.
From our presentation, we come to the conclusion that credibility is like trust. It takes a long time to build it, and it can be lost in a moment. People want to believe in their leaders and have faith that they are the right person to follow. Leaders must focus on building and maintaining their credibility by knowing the basic skills such as building credibility, communication, listening, assertiveness, conducting meetings, effective stress management, problem solving, and improving creativity. That's all our presentation. Thank you.